At 11 p.m., I had just finished brushing my teeth and washing up and was getting ready for bed when our academic advisor suddenly sent a message to the group chat. She said that a murderer was hiding somewhere near our area. The police were searching everywhere for him. She told us that as long as we locked our doors and windows securely, there was nothing to be afraid of. At 11 p.m. I had just finished brushing my teeth and washing up and was getting ready for bed when our academic advisor suddenly sent a message to the group chat, demanding that everyone go to the auditorium immediately for a meeting. Go right now. Anyone absent will lose their eligibility to stay on campus. Everyone was angry but didn't dare say it out loud. They silently replied that they had received the message. Only Taylor Snow from room 202 directly replied to her. Not going. She had just sent the message and seemed ready to run away. Because the dormitory was quite crowded, the university did not provide housing for seniors and required us to go off campus for internships. A few of us were girls who wanted to stay on campus during summer break to prepare for graduate school entrance exams, and it had been very difficult to get permission to remain in the dorms. We were all assigned to the second floor of the dormitory. An academic advisor had also been assigned to manage us through a group chat. Perhaps because she had to work overtime during the summer, she seemed full of resentment. She would call meetings at the slightest excuse and constantly make rules for us. I never expected anyone to openly challenge her. Taylor Snow from room 202, I remembered her as a very timid girl. Why had she suddenly become so bold? At the time, I even thought she had a point. Though if the advisor got angry, that would be another matter. Soon afterward, the advisor immediately tagged her. Another student from room 202 asked, "What's wrong with Taylor? Has she lost her mind? If she doesn't want to stay on campus, she should just say so and get out tomorrow." But even after a long time, Dorothy Hammond didn't reply. I felt that something was wrong. There were 7 students on the second floor in total, and only room 202 had 2 occupants. Since the 2 of them had originally been roommates, and I was in room 205, the room closest to theirs, I knew them fairly well. Just as I was considering whether I should go to room 202 to check on them, Taylor Snow suddenly sent another message. Guess who I killed? Could she have killed Dorothy Hammond? The academic advisor immediately sent a long message to the group. Students, stay in your dorm rooms and lock your doors and windows. I've already called the police and notified campus security. Until they arrive, no one is allowed to leave their room. Although Taylor's messages were bizarre, the advisor had already claimed she had called the police. Wasn't that a bit too hasty? Then the advisor sent another private message. It was a mass message. It isn't safe to talk in the group chat. Please be aware that the person using Taylor Snow's phone may not actually be Taylor herself. I froze in shock and quickly sent a message asking, "What exactly is going on?" The advisor's next message left me stunned. Do you know why I was so eager to gather everyone? Because a murderer is hiding somewhere near our area. The police are searching for him. I inhaled sharply. At last, I understood what the advisor was implying. She suspected that Taylor Snow had already been murdered, and that the person holding her phone and sending those messages was the killer. Thinking of that, I immediately checked my door and windows. Fortunately, I was usually careful, and everything was already locked tightly. I sent another message to the advisor. When will the police get here? The advisor replied. Campus security and officers from the campus police department are on their way. They'll be here in about 10 minutes. The main entrance to the dormitory was locked a long time ago, so he can't escape. You just need to keep your doors and windows locked and you'll be fine. Reading that message, I finally let out a sigh of relief. Once the police arrived, everything should be okay. Wait. If there really was a dangerous murderer on the loose, then why would he send messages that exposed himself? Just as I was puzzling over that question, a new message appeared on my phone. Have you noticed that the academic advisor is lying? The message was from Fiona Parker in room 207. After sending the message, Fiona didn't reply again. Instead, she calmly called me. I answered immediately. You actually dared to answer my call. You're Jojo, right? Of course it's me. No, I mean, the academic advisor, her. That's right. The academic advisor completely refused to answer my calls. I suspect she isn't actually the academic advisor. I quickly pressed her. Just because she won't answer the phone doesn't necessarily mean she isn't the academic advisor, right? Fiona Parker explained. I checked the recent announcements from the police department online. There hasn't been any news at all about a murderer on the run. Maybe the investigation is still ongoing, so they can't disclose it to the public. That's impossible. If there really were a murderer nearby, the school administration would already be on alert. How could they leave it to a minor academic advisor to handle? What she said actually made sense. I've already called the police. If you're still worried, I suggest you call them too. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. So I still need to verify the safety of the other students. For now, don't believe a single word from the academic advisor, Taylor Snow, or Dorothy Hammond. Understand? I could only reply. Okay, no problem. After saying that, she hung up. But the feeling of unease only grew stronger. Especially what she said about the academic advisor being suspicious. If there was something wrong with her, then why had she told us to lock our doors and windows? While waiting for news from Fiona Parker, I also called 911. The entire process went smoothly. After I explained the whole situation, the dispatcher said that officers would come investigate immediately. The only thing I needed to do was ensure my own safety. Although the situation was a little strange, I believed that once the police arrived, everything would have a reasonable explanation. Very soon, I received a message from Fiona Parker. She directly created a group chat and said, "Everyone except the academic advisor and the 2 students from room 202 can still be contacted and can talk." So I made this group. Before the police arrive, if anything happens, we can keep each other informed. I looked at the member list. Aside from Taylor Snow and Dorothy Hammond, the other 5 people were all there. Everyone began comforting and encouraging one another. And everyone had already called the police, so logically speaking, nothing major should happen anymore. Until Olivia Lewis from room 208 suddenly sent a strange message. I think something just flew past the balcony and headed toward Fiona Parker. Fiona Parker was in room 207, which meant that whatever Olivia Lewis saw flying past was heading toward my room 205. Very quickly, Fiona Parker also sent a message. There really was a dark shadow, but I couldn't see it clearly. "Jojo, can you check what it is?" I took a few steps toward the balcony. At first glance, everything seemed fine. Maybe it was just a bird flying past and frightening them. I was about to type a reply when, in the instant I lowered my head, a human head suddenly appeared outside the window. Long, tangled hair covered almost the entire face. Only 2 large black eyes, like those of a praying mantis, were visible. And the skin not covered by the hair looked extremely pale under the balcony light. The moment our eyes met, the figure suddenly grinned at me. Its mouth could open almost all the way down to its chin. I was terrified. So terrified that I even forgot to scream. It looked like a twisted human being, yet it didn't look human at all. After making eye contact with me and smiling, it dropped downward and vanished completely. I was completely stunned. I couldn't understand what I had just seen. Was that even a person? I was on the 2nd floor, so it was possible for someone to climb up. But how could a person look that terrifying? I hurriedly picked up my phone and told everyone about it in the group chat that Fiona Parker had created. The group immediately erupted into discussion. At first, they suspected that I might have seen it wrong. But gradually, they also began to feel that something was off. The conversation started heading in a strange direction. Especially Olivia Lewis from room 208, the first person who had noticed the dark shadow outside the balcony. I have a pretty bad theory. Have you ever heard of a mountain demon called a Shan Shao? We have stories about them in my hometown. People say they're little demons raised by a mountain god. But if they escape the mountain god's control, they come down from the mountains to harm people. They usually look like monkeys, but they can shapeshift. Not only can they take human form, but they can also make us hallucinate. Then they separate people one by one and defeat them. I'm wondering, what murderer? And then there's Taylor Snow, who's gone missing, Dorothy Hammond, and the academic advisor. Could all of this be caused by something supernatural? After Olivia Lewis finished speaking, everyone fell silent. Because it was far beyond anything we could comprehend. Besides, we were all college students. Logically speaking, we shouldn't believe in things like this. But what shook me was that I couldn't explain what I had just seen. Honestly, I was terrified. At that moment, Ethan Carter from room 210 timidly sent a message. In that case, just to be safe, should we all gather together? But Ryan Cole from room 209 seemed hesitant. But what if we run into the bad guy while we're doing that? I was thinking the same thing. I kept feeling that something wasn't right. But I couldn't figure out exactly what it was. Just then, the academic advisor sent me another message. The officers coming to investigate have already contacted me. They'll be here within 10 minutes. When they arrive, I'll search the entire dormitory with them. We'll do our best to find Taylor Snow and Dorothy Hammond. Please stay calm. Keep your doors locked and do not go outside under any circumstances. It was obviously a mass message sent by the academic advisor. My attention was drawn to it. That question surfaced in my mind again. If Fiona Parker was right and there was something wrong with the academic advisor, then why did she keep emphasizing that we had to lock our doors and windows? And she had directly mentioned in her message that she had spoken with the police. But Fiona Parker had said that the academic advisor completely refused to answer her calls. That was quite contradictory. Thinking about it, I couldn't help opening the academic advisor's chat window and pressing the voice call button. To my surprise, she answered immediately. And her familiar voice came through the phone. "Jojo, you got my messages, right? Is something wrong?" I froze for a moment. Then I asked. "Professor, may I ask something? Did Fiona Parker call you?" The academic advisor paused briefly before replying. "No." "Why? Did something happen to her?" At that moment, I knew that either the academic advisor or Fiona Parker was definitely lying. It could be the academic advisor. She didn't answer Fiona Parker's calls, but I couldn't figure out why. After all, Fiona Parker had spoken with me. She was a real person. It was also possible that Fiona Parker had never called the academic advisor at all. She could have been lying to me. The reason was probably hidden in that new group chat. Before I knew who was lying, I didn't dare tell the academic advisor everything that was happening. So I started talking around the subject with her. I'm a little worried about the others. I wonder how they're doing right now. They're fine. I've already messaged them. Just stay in your dorm rooms and absolutely do not open the door. Wait until the police arrive before opening it. Understand? Yes, I understand. I only exchanged a few vague words with her. She was probably busy and worried herself, so she didn't realize I was lying. After that, we ended the call. I returned to the new group chat. There were already dozens of messages being discussed. Their conclusion was that everyone should gather together. And the location would be Ethan Carter's dorm room, room 211, the room farthest from room 202. I didn't agree with the suggestion. But he had already been persuaded. I tapped on his profile picture in the group chat, wanting to ask what he was thinking. But the page showed a request for me to add him as a friend. What was going on? I tried clicking on the profile pictures of the others. The result was that none of them were my friends. A chill immediately ran down my spine. But I still pressed the Add Friend button. At that moment, I suddenly realized that I had been removed from the group chat. In an instant, my scalp went numb. If the academic advisor hadn't sent those messages, I might have opened my dorm room door and let them drag me out. And Fiona Parker really was Fiona Parker. We had even talked on the phone. Why would she create a group chat like that? To trick us into going outside? She had even created a bunch of alternate accounts. What exactly was the unknown creature that had appeared outside the window just now? Thinking of this, I sent a message to all the students except Taylor Snow, Dorothy Hammond, and Fiona Parker. While waiting for their replies, the academic advisor also sent another message at the perfect time. Students, don't be afraid. I'm still in contact with the police. They'll be here soon. Please keep your doors and windows locked tightly and absolutely do not go outside. At that moment, I completely believed that the academic advisor was not the bad person. Because she kept emphasizing that we had to keep our doors and windows locked. Just then, Fiona Parker called again. I hadn't even had the chance to question her yet. And she actually dared to call me. I was about to give her a piece of my mind, so I answered. Jojo, listen to me. I really didn't mean to deceive you. But you have to remember what I'm about to say. The world you're in isn't the real world. And I'm not Fiona Parker either. I can only contact you through Fiona Parker. And the only thing that can help you escape this illusion is to open your dorm room door and walk outside. You must do it before 3 a.m. She could even say something as absurd as being trapped in an illusionary world. But what I didn't understand was why she had set a deadline of 3 a.m. Instinctively, I looked at the clock. It was already midnight. At this hour of the night, no matter how you looked at it, opening the dorm room door was not a rational thing to do. All I had to do was wait for the police to arrive and explain what was happening here. At that moment, the other students also replied to my messages. All of them said that Fiona Parker had not contacted them privately. Except for Ryan Cole from room 209. She sent me a message. I believe her. I want to open the door and take a look. Absolutely not. It's too dangerous. Ryan Cole didn't reply. I waited anxiously. Then Ryan Cole sent another message. I opened the door just a crack and saw a dark shadow outside rushing toward me. I immediately slammed the door shut. It was incredibly dangerous. I have no idea whether that shadow was even human. After reading those messages, I became completely convinced that Fiona Parker was deceiving us. Because she had said that opening the dorm room door was the only way to escape this illusionary world. But Ryan Cole had nearly lost her life after opening hers. It was terrifying. Just then, another call came from the academic advisor. She said directly, Fiona Parker can no longer be contacted. She is the third student who has become unreachable tonight. Instinctively, I asked, why haven't the police arrived yet? This situation may not be as simple as we thought. I'm creating a new group chat so we can all talk together. Very quickly, the academic advisor finished creating the new group chat. Besides me and the academic advisor, only Olivia Lewis from room 208, Ryan Cole from room 209, and Ethan Carter from room 211 remained. Students, at the moment only a few of us can still contact each other. First of all, I want to emphasize one thing: keep your doors and windows tightly shut. I know everyone has questions. Why haven't the police arrived yet? I've spoken many times with the people claiming to be police officers who said they were coming to investigate. But strangely, they still haven't arrived. I don't know exactly what's happening either. But one by one, the other students have become unreachable. And that gives me a very bad feeling. We may be trapped. Almost as if we're haunted. Perhaps the people I've been talking to weren't actually police officers. I told you already, that thing I saw through the crack in the door was truly bizarre. Its entire body was green, and its eyes were as large as a frog's. Jojo, you saw it too, didn't you? I'm not even sure whether what I saw was the same thing. Have any of you heard the ghost stories about this school? They say this place used to be a barren mountain. There was even a shrine dedicated to a mountain god. The mountain god raised a group of followers called Shan Shao. It said that when the school began construction, it disturbed the mountain god's shrine, so the Shan Shao were no longer bound by it. Sometimes they can come out and harm people. They don't possess many supernatural powers. They can only create simple illusions, like making people walk in circles endlessly. And they can manipulate the souls of the dead to deceive the living. That fit perfectly with Taylor Snow's strange messages and Fiona Parker's attempts to trick us. After listening to Olivia Lewis's explanation, I became even more frightened. I was just an ordinary college student. How could I possibly deal with something that terrifying? Anyway, students, please keep your doors and windows tightly locked. Once morning comes, everything should be fine. It seemed that this was our only option. After that, the police still didn't arrive. I called the police again. The dispatcher said that officers would come investigate immediately. But a very long time passed, and no police ever showed up. It seemed that we really had encountered Shan Shao. This appeared to be the truth of tonight. Time passed little by little. It was already 2 a.m. I remembered the 3 a.m. deadline that Fiona Parker had mentioned. For some reason, an inexplicable sense of panic rose inside me. Did ghosts really exist in this world? Wouldn't a world with ghosts be an illusion? No. Ryan Cole definitely couldn't have known. I had seen the unidentified creature outside the balcony. Because in the group chat that Fiona Parker created, every student inside it had been fake. Then how did Ryan Cole know about it? Ryan Cole shouldn't have known that Fiona Parker had deceived me either. Because I had never told her any of those things. Other than me, only Fiona Parker knew. But the academic advisor had also said that Fiona Parker was completely unreachable. Could there be something wrong with them as well? In order to find clues, I began reviewing everything that had happened from the beginning. First, there were Taylor Snow's messages. They made no sense. If a murderer had really killed Taylor Snow and Dorothy Hammond, there was no reason for the killer to send messages that exposed himself. One strange thing after another had happened. The academic advisor and everyone in that group had all given me the same message. Keep the doors and windows locked. Do not go outside. Except for Fiona Parker. At that moment, I finally began taking her words seriously. Could it be that this world really wasn't the real world? If so, then perhaps I was the only real person here. And everyone else was merely an illusion. I slowly walked toward the door. Because it was already 2:50 a.m. I didn't have much time left to think. I placed my hand on the doorknob. Just open it a crack. If there was danger, I would immediately shut it again. That should be safe. Thinking that, I turned the doorknob and unlocked the door. Then I gently pulled it open. Light poured in. It was sunlight. Outside, it was daytime. It seemed that my guess had been correct. Other than Fiona Parker, everyone else had wanted to harm me. I slowly opened the door and stepped outside.